What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a guest with us and I'm really excited to talk about the Free Britney movement with her. Her name is BJ and she is on social media under That Surprise Witness. And honestly, she is a surprise witness because she came out of nowhere and she has torn up the legal scene on social media. She's been able to explain it to people in a way that they can understand. And it's honestly very helpful for the movement because while there's a lot of conspiracy theorists and it keeps the Free Britney movement alive, we've got a really serious situation going down in court and BJ is here to help explain what is going down with the legal situation and how we can help Brittany. So, BJ, when did you become a fan of Brittany? Have you always been a fan of Brittany, or?
I would call myself like a fan, not like to the level of stan. You know,
You're not a stan, but you're a fan.
Years, yeah. Really, I came into the Free Britney movement not even as a fan, but as someone who's concerned about human rights and constitutional rights and disability rights. The more I learned about Britney's case, the more I realized that this is actually a very serious legal issue. And, you know, the fact that it's Britney Spears makes it even cooler.
When did you end up finding out about the Free Britney movement? What is your background with law? Because I know you are definitely way more knowledgeable when it comes to law and legal things. So are you a lawyer? Are you going to be a lawyer?
I graduated from law school in May.
Congrats.
Last May, thank you. And usually I would have already taken the bar exam by now. It's like the final test you have to take before you, and you pass it, you become, a qualified licensed attorney. But yeah, I'm not, strictly speaking, a licensed attorney, and nothing that I say, and make sure to keep this part in, nothing that I say today should be construed as legal advice. If you need legal advice, please consult an attorney in your jurisdiction. I'm not giving anyone legal advice. I'm just talking about my opinion about the Free Britney movement today.
And you're just way more knowledgeable than a lot of us when it comes to law because you literally went through law school. So that helps a lot. And we were talking earlier before the call started that you started getting hip to the movement because your little sister showed you some videos on TikTok where you came across this page on TikTok that was bringing up Britney's situation. And a lot of those videos are very conspiracy based, but you were able to become more aware of the situation and look into those files some. And when you start looking into your database with all those legal files, what are some of the things that stood out to you at first?
The first thing that I remember thinking was not ordinary. Britney Spears was admitted into the hospital for a psychiatric hold, which is in California called a 5150 hold, on January 31st. By February 1st, which is the next day, all of the first round of conservatorship documents were filed. The reason I thought that was unusual is I have drafted legal documents for internships and as a legal assistant for the most part, and what I mean by that is 100% of the time that I have experience doing this, you would not have all of those documents be able to be drafted in one day. I mean, it's very important documents. So you're not just throwing them together and sending them over to the court, especially on a case like this. So the first thing I thought off the bat was this was orchestrated, I think, right? It was planned in advance. It wasn't like, oh God, it's an emergency. We have to put her in the hospital. Oh, hurry up. Let's get these No. No. Those documents were signed by at least two people on January 31st, which is the day Britney was admitted to the hospital. That was odd. Something else I found odd was Jamie Spears had filed a petition to take away Britney's right to receive what's called notice. Notice is a very important concept under the United States Constitution, which applies to all United States citizens. Notice allows you to have what's called due process. And that's just a fancy way of saying before the state takes your rights away, they have to tell you that they are intending to do so. In the state of California, Britney was entitled legally to 5 days notice that a conservatorship had been filed and she was going to have a hearing. Jamie Spears filed a petition and the petition was granted to not give Britney any notice that she was going to be even considered for a conservatorship, much less put into one.
Yeah.
And the reasoning, right, of that document was weird too. I mean, if you really want to get into it later, we can pull it up and look at it. But the reasoning on there is okay, Sam Lufty, and now at this time, I don't know who that is. Sam Lufty allegedly, according to these documents, was crushing up and putting them in her food. and telling, like, basically taking complete control of her life, which is awful, but that's exactly what the conservatorship was petitioning to do themselves. So I thought that was weird too. I'm like, okay, so why don't y'all just get a restraining order against this guy? Or why don't y'all have a hearing and let him come and tell his case?
Yeah, or at this point, it's not Brittany the problem. It's not Brittany that's the problem. It's Sam that's the problem because he's doing this to her. So that's just not valid reasoning at all.
I agree. And and of course, as I'm reading these documents, I kind of remember like, yeah, I remember Britney Spears shaving her head. How could you not? I remember her doing the umbrella thing. But like, I'm from Louisiana too, and like I would beat somebody with an umbrella. Like that's not that weird. Like to be in prison for 12 years, like.
And the way she was treated by the paparazzi and stuff, it's just like unlike anything else that's happening. Like in the last 10 years, no one has been treated like that. Even when I was growing up, like I look back on it and I think about like when I was a kid, it was actually uncomfortable to think about what type of things they put online of Britney Spears in such a vulnerable space. And like I remember being a kid being like, whoa, like I'm growing up quick, like learning about Britney Spears' mental health because they're shoving it in our face and they're selling it to us.
Yeah. So something else, right, that was strange. At the beginning for me was, so Brittany gets out the hospital. I'm pretty sure it was February 4th. She was done with her 72-hour, psychiatric hold. And over the weekend, she had attempted to hire her own attorney. Now, this is important to me as a law graduate because, sorry, my cat. This is important to me as a law graduate because the right to an attorney is yet another constitutional right that we do have as citizens of the United States. And it's very important, as you probably know, even in the criminal justice system, if you can't afford an attorney, you get one for free, right? So the right to an attorney is super important. And Brittany actually had hired an attorney. So they go in court, and I actually have an Instagram live on this if y'all want to see, like, go through line by line of this. And probably a lot of your followers probably already have seen it, but.
And I'll link it below, your whole Instagram and everything like that.
So they get into court, and Brittany's like, her lawyer's like, or her attempted lawyer's like, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm representing.
What was his name again? The gray hair? Adam? Yes. Okay.
Adam Streisand. So he shows up on behalf of Brittany, and the court says, no, she's incompetent to hire her own attorney. You got to go. And they kick him out the courtroom. Then the court has this other lawyer who we all know and don't love, Sam Ingham, appoints him to be Brittany's lawyer. Just boom, like, no, you're incompetent to hire your own lawyer. This guy, Adam Streisand, was actually very qualified. He works in this field. I looked him up. He looks legit. Didn't see him involved in any scandals. Not the same that I can say about Sam Ingham or Andrew Wallet, but I digress. So the court just determined Brittany didn't have competence to hire this lawyer, so she kicked him out. That's a constitutional violation, in my opinion, because the state took away Brittany's right to an attorney. Period. That's a Sixth Amendment violation. If any of you want to be lawyers one day, the Sixth Amendment gives you the right to an attorney. So then Sam Ingham says, I nominate Dr. Stephen Marmer to be the guy who does the psych eval, right? To determine if Brittany is competent, fit, etc., to do this medical evaluation. The judge kind of goes, okay, sounds good. So I looked this guy up, Stephen Marmer. He has 1.9 stars on health grades. Look it up yourself. He has been accused of over-medicating patients, misdiagnosing patients, making them worse, right? I mean, you can go read them yourself. I think every review is a 1-star review and maybe like 2 or 3 3-stars, but like look it up yourself. Don't take my word for it. So I thought that was weird. So I'm like, okay, weird. And then I keep going down this document, this court document, and it says, okay, the judge says, Reva Gates, she says, okay, you can have that doctor for your evaluation, and I want him to tell me the following things, A, B, C, D, whatever. One of those things was he was supposed to tell her what Brittany's fitness and competence was to hire an attorney, to retain and conduct her own counsel or whatever. I'm like, hold on, lady. Didn't you just say last page Brittany's incompetent?
That she couldn't? Yeah.
To hire an attorney? Didn't you already make that decision? And now you want a doctor who's never met Britney Spears in her life, who Britney Spears did not choose to be her doctor, recommended by a lawyer who she did not choose to be her lawyer, to have access to 100% of her confidential medical information and also evaluate what happens for the rest of her life? That was mind-blowing to me. And like, it really made me honestly feel not sorry or bad, but like feel empathy or sympathy in some way for the people who have been fighting for this for so long. Because once I started looking into those documents, I was like, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is a human rights violation. And it happened so fast. Like in 3 days, Britney's entire everything was taken from her. Like, her money, her freedom, her sense of identity, her ability to choose a doctor, ability to choose a lawyer, ability to keep any privacy from her hillbilly dad, everything was taken from her. And ever since that first day, I've just been, I'm gonna free Britney Spears.
I know this saying from somewhere, like knowledge is freedom. So if you are able to share your knowledge of law to other people, you are able to help inform them, and I don't know, maybe it will lead to her freedom someday, because I agree, this whole thing seems like coerced to me. Like, I feel like in no way this could actually happen in the real world. Like, this judge had to have, like, I don't know if someone like Lou M. Taylor had a friend who was a Judge Penny, and then she was able to get things moving, and this lawyer was, you know, friends with this doctor. And I just feel like there's this whole group of like corrupt people who are working together, because everything that you're talking about has moved, like, again, so quickly that it doesn't seem like it could really happen in the real world under like legit law. It's just almost too good to be true for the bad side with her dad and, you know, Lou M. Taylor.
And you see this in the legal system, unfortunately, a lot. And that is something that I hope that people take from the Free Britney movement, even if Britney gets her freedom soon and anything like that, is that we, the people, have a responsibility to scrutinize, investigate, and have oversight over our public servants. Mm-hmm. Judges work for us. Police officers work for us, right? And
exactly,
there is corruption everywhere. Every profession has corrupt people. Every profession has non-corrupt people, right? I'm not saying every judge is corrupt, but I am saying that, you know, you get the Lance Basses, you know, bless his heart, or et cetera, saying, let's trust the system. You know, there's judges involved, there's lawyers involved. I'm sure they know what they're doing. I just graduated from Ivy League law school. I can promise you half of them have no idea what they're doing. Okay. And a lot of people are just incompetent. Even if they're not corrupt, they just don't understand the law. Now we got to go to appeals court, or now we have to get you fired and put someone else in your spot. So I would strongly encourage people, if you have a gut feeling that something doesn't feel right to you, don't just listen to like, oh, a cop is involved or a judge is involved, it must be okay. No, baby, I can send you a lot of links of judges being corrupt and crooked. I'm not saying Penny is, but I'm saying that it reeks of corruption, and
in my opinion, I mean, I think she seems like she's definitely corrupt. Honestly, I'm surprised she's even part of this case still. I feel like she should just be kind of like forced out of it. Like, I know we come for Lou M. Taylor a lot of times, but I talk about a bunch of different cases, and I love that you talk about how these people work for us, because it's true. We pay taxes. They are supposed to like serve us, and especially when it comes to freedom, that gets very touchy. I mean, our whole country's on fire right now because of what some of these people have done. And something I want to ask you about, because it's something I never really like see anything online about, is Britney Spears is there a case, or is there a way that Britney Spears could be forced not to speak on this? Like, could Britney, like, because part of me thinks sometimes, like, why doesn't she just get up on her phone? And you might not know the answer, I'm not expecting you to, but like, why doesn't she get on her phone, just tell us what's happening, or speak to us, or, you know, open up about the situation? Like, I have several theories when it comes to that, but in your opinion, is there something legally that could stop her from doing that? Like 100%, they could just make her stop talking about what's, you know, going on.
From a legal perspective, there's nothing I can think of. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I think
a gag order, would that be it? But that's like a gag order on literally your entire life and your well-being. Like, I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that it's probably one of the other theories, like she doesn't want to rock the boat because she's scared to lose custody of her kids, or she's been threatened, you know, that, you know, if she makes too much noise, then she's really never going to see any of this money again, or, you know, something like that.
Something worse, yeah.
Now with like Sam Asghari, definitely signed an NDA. Like, I have certainty that like he cannot talk. Like, he cannot just go on FaceTime or whatever, like Instagram Live, and say like, oh, this is what's up. And like, I have feelings about him one way or the other. I know people are very divided on him. And, you know, I know some people like him or whatever, and they're like, well, he won't be able to see Brittany again. Okay, well, guess what? Stop being so selfish. Like, you know what I mean? But
yeah, it's also, is it love at that point? Like, is it even real, or is this just him working? Like,
I haven't seen any like court document evidence on him, and frankly, I've really looked. And it's like,
that's weird.
Suspiciously, there's nothing on him. But then someone told me like, oh, well, he didn't move to the States till 2006, so maybe he just wouldn't have any record. And it's like, I have found stuff on every person in this case. I'm not talking like background checks. I'm just saying like business affiliations, former employers, former addresses, real estate they own, like anything. Like there's just, I can't find anything. And maybe he just goes by a different name or something, but
weird. That is a weird thing to think about.
Like there's no legal facts on Sam that I can find. So it's kind of just like me speculating like the rest of everyone else.
No, he came out of nowhere too, because people want me to do a video specifically about him. And like everyone else, I've been able to make a video pretty easily because there's a lot online. But like there is really nothing when it comes to him. And it's hard to just even find out like about his family life. Like how did he even start like working? Because I've seen him in a police officer like uniform, but now he's like just a fitness guy. So I definitely feel like he is like a weird person in this story. And I don't know,
allegedly someone did look to see on like some kind of database or website, like was he actually a police officer in Ventura County, and like there's no record of that.
Yeah,
so we don't even know for sure if he was or wasn't.
Well,
strangely,
and when I saw
he liked one of my videos, and I was like trying to psychoanalyze like why he liked it. Like,
wait, he did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's tea. I mean, he's definitely aware of what's going on. It's just like, is that him like going and finding your content and being like, oh, this girl is getting a little too hip, like let's send her a cease and desist soon? Or is he like low key like, oh, free my girl because her dad is crazy and trust me, I know, I live with him? Like,
it's so hard to tell. And like some people are like, maybe it was Brittany, like maybe it was like, who knows, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, I didn't even know he liked it, so I don't know exactly when he did like the video. Someone sent me a DM and was like, do you know that Sam Asghari is liking your videos? And she sent me a picture of it, and I was like, this is Photoshop, like this is fake. I'm so suspicious of everything. I'm like, this is fake. So I go to the video, type in his name, and like sure enough, he really did. It was just so strange. But yeah, like it was interesting. Now, I like psychoanalyze. I'm like, oh, why did he pick that video of all my videos? Like looked at all the videos around, typing it in, like,
like it's also, did someone share it to him? Like it's a weird, like, is it supposed to be a sign to you? Because part of me would think like, is it a sign like he's trying to be like, I know what's going on? Like, very weird.
Well, interesting. Like when I was still kind of on the fence, and I've kind of like, I was on the fence, and then I kind of went over to like, maybe Sam's okay, and now I'm back on the fence. But the first time I was on the fence, I was like, maybe this guy, like, who knows? Like, I don't know, like maybe, because I'd seen him liking other people's stuff. So I said, like on one of his videos, I typed like, go like one of my videos if you've seen it. Or I said, no, I said, like this comment if you see my videos. And he never liked that comment. But then later I find out he had actually liked one of my videos. So I know for at least he liked the video. But I don't know when, and I'm not tech savvy enough to figure out when. I don't know.
Cool. So, you know, there are a lot of people that are a part of this conservatorship and have been controlling Brittany's life. And, you know, I call them the corrupt crew of critters. Like, literally, I call them critters because Andrew Wallet looks like a hairless mole rat to me. Samuel Ingham looks like a groundhog to me. And I think, when I think of Liam Taylor, I think of that rat in New York City that's dragging the pizza that's like double its body size because it's so greedy. So she is that New York City rat to me. But
the subway rat.
Yeah, she's the subway rat. So, like Liam Taylor, there's a lot of things like speculation when it comes around her, like that she was a stalker of Britney's before she joined the conservatorship, that she, you know, influenced Britney's father into actually getting Britney into the conservatorship. I have no doubt that she was involved in the early stages of this, because whenever all these like pop princesses and, you know, famous girls back then were getting in trouble, she was there to go rescue Lindsay Lohan and just random things. And I'm just like, why were you there? Like, what was your motive? Because you're trying to take these vulnerable people, get into their life somehow. I don't know why you would. And you also know that she has bought domains online trying to protect herself in this whole conservatorship mess. So what do you know about Liam Taylor's involvement in Britney's conservatorship?
Hooey, how much time do you have?
I know.
So
she's the ringleader.
let's go back to 2008 where we were and then go even further back. So in 2007, just a few, months before Brittany went into the conservatorship, Lou Taylor appeared on, somewhere like Tonight, something with Meredith Vieira, and she appeared as the Spears family spokesperson. And she, to my memory, specifically said she was there on behalf of Jamie Spears, Brittany's dad, Lynn Spears, Brittany's mom, and Jamie Lynn Spears, Brittany's sister. I don't remember her saying she was there on behalf of Brittany, right? So there's allegations and emails floating around that you may know about, allegedly from Lou Taylor to Britney Spears, and there's emails from Britney Spears to her lawyer. And those emails reference lots of the same types of materials, such as a pink hat that Lou sent to Brittany and stuff like that. Well, in this email that has not been substantiated, so just, you can look it up and come to your own conclusion. But in this email that was leaked from Brittany to her lawyer, Brittany says, this lady is a stalker. She's a crazy lady. Can I get a restraining order against her? Like, I'm scared of her. A hat showed up at my house. The FedEx lady walks in and you can pull I can imagine you pulling up that screenshots right here, right now or whatever. But that happens, right, in 2007. Also in 2007, Brittany was put into, I believe, her first involuntary psychiatric hold. While she was there, Dr. Phil, for some reason, went over there to evaluate her. Dr. Phil from the television, I'm not even sure he's an actual real
He's not a doctor. No, he's not a doctor.
So I don't know why they sent him over there, but it's just a long line of bumpkins that have no idea what they're doing. And we're finally starting to realize this whole team is unqualified. So back to Lou Taylor. Somehow, some way, she ended up being Jamie Lynn Spears' business manager in or around 2007, and she continues to be Jamie Lynn Spears' business manager through an entity, at least one, called Sweet Jamie Music LLC. She was Jamie Lynn's manager, to my knowledge, before Brittany. Then once Brittany was in the conservatorship, I believe that is when Lou became her manager. However, in Lynn Spears' book, Through the Storm, she says pretty explicitly, the business manager, right, who we think is Lou Taylor, was trying to convince us to do this conservatorship for weeks or months. And we had to pray about it and fast about it and whatever. So to put all those things together, my deduction, right, is, or my suspicion, is Lou Taylor was instrumental in orchestrating this conservatorship. And whenever you put that together with the fact that Courtney Love has come out publicly, blue checkmark, and said Lou Taylor tried to do this to her, and she threatened her to bring her to court with a jury trial, not no one judge sitting there, no ma'am, a jury. Lindsay Lohan, we also know, was affiliated with Lou Taylor, and Lou Taylor was going to put her in a conservatorship too. So putting all that circumstantial evidence together, my reasonable conclusion is Lou Taylor was instrumental not only in the workings of this conservatorship, but in its establishment and in its beginning and it being orchestrated. And I say orchestrated because I really do think that Brittany was completely blindsided. She had no notice. She walked out of a 5150 hold into a conservatorship, and to this day she has not been allowed to get out of it. That's how Lou Taylor was involved there. But my kind of claim to fame, I say fame like I'm nobody, but the thing I'm kind of known for is connecting, sort of following Britney's money. Where do we think
important? That's important because that is the root of evil here too. That is where this evil is rooted, and where I feel like even Jamie Lynn Spears turns a blind eye to her own sister because the money's just a little too good for them all. So yeah, I definitely want to talk about Lou and Taylor and that money, because I think that's Brittany is just one of those girls out of those bunch of girls that was the victim of Lou and Taylor, and it's Lou and Taylor's success story. So what do you know about her, finessing with Brittany's money? Or allegedly,
Let's start with the facts that I know. Fact is that since 2008, which was the beginning of the conservatorship, approximately 10 to 15, entities, which is a fancy word for company, right? Or entity, or like
an organization or something. Just
organization, corporation, something like that. If I say entity, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Like 10 to 15 different entities have been established since 2008. On those entities, you will very often find either Lou Taylor's name as the registered agent, which is like the person who receives the mail and files, important documents each year, or Andrew Wallet or James Spears. Now we know that these are probably Britney's companies, right? They're called like Britney Brands Inc. and stuff like that. It's like Britney, whatever. So her name's not on there as any kind of president, officer. There's only like one or two companies that you can even find her name on at all. Lou Taylor or Lou Taylor's business address is listed on most, if not all, of those companies. And all of those were started since the conservatorship, which means Lou Taylor, right? That's a fact. So then I'm like looking through, Meaner on Instagram, Meaner03, and Lawyers for Brittany. Those were the first two like non-entertainment accounts that I followed, right? Like the first accounts I followed were kind of conspiracy theory, just to kind of get a lay of the land. Who is this person? This person. And then I went into, let me find these documents. Let me make the connections between these companies. So when I was looking on those and I saw this like random, like one reference to Lou Taylor being an investment advisor at some point or before or something. And I was like, well, that's weird, but also right in my wheelhouse because I'm going to be a corporate lawyer, a transactional lawyer. Like court documents are not actually my forte. I understand them, but what I'm really good at and what I really understand is business and corporations. So, and I say that now, but now I feel like I have a good training in litigation too. But so I was like, yes, this is the road I'm going to go down because there's nobody else that's going to be able to do this. So I go to the SEC, which is, a government website, and it's kind of like, just for viewers who don't know what the SEC is, it's short for the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Securities and Exchange Commission is kind of like a branch of the government, a little bit, not exactly. I'm being very reductionist. So if you
like an agency in the government that just like the government pays for it to,
like the Department of Justice or the Department of Education, Labor, or Homeland Security. And this particular department is for financial regulation. So we're talking stock market, stocks and exchange and stuff like that. So I go on their website and they have this thing called a broker check. And I'm going through the details because I want people to feel empowered to do this themselves. It's free. You just go and do it yourself. So I go in there and I type in Louise M. Taylor and sure enough, boom, she pops up. I go to her report. It's free. It's just open to the public .gov website. And sure enough, Lou Taylor had worked for this firm called Stonebridge Investment Advisors as an investment advisor for 9 years. Now, for most people, that wouldn't be a big deal, right? But I'm like, there's something fishy with this woman. I'm just going to keep pushing, keep looking. And I found out she had worked at another investment firm called Prime Capital Services. So I just started looking into this. Stonebridge only has 3 employees. And I know that I remember seeing that somewhere right at the time. I know I remember seeing Stonebridge somewhere on Britney Spears' court.
Only 3 employees. Wow.
Exactly.
That's suspect.
I'm like, this isn't Merrill Lynch. This isn't Fidelity. This isn't, Lehman Brothers back in the day, rest in peace. This is like a 3-person little, somebody just hung a certificate on a wall. They could be doing this out of somebody's basement. I don't know what Stonebridge is. So I go and I start looking at how much money they have. They have $722 million called assets under management, which basically just means dollars. Like how many dollars of other people's money do they have charge of? 722 million. But then when I started breaking it down even more, 600 of that 700 million, so like almost all of it, was like being held in a separate account. And then Stonebridge wasn't even actually investing it. They had like given it over to Fidelity, which is like a very reputable, very well-known firm. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, this isn't really like the SEC isn't my area of expertise, but I'm just kind of confused by this. Then I realized like 600 something million of those dollars that they have just came in last year. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. This got to be Britney Spears money. Like I just had So we can go through more like boring details, but the reason this is important is if y'all will remember, like last week, Jamie Lynn Spears was outed, or 2 weeks ago, as the trustee of Britney Spears' trust. Now that trust is important because it's pretty much all of her assets, or, what she was worth.
Everyone thought that was a good thing too. They all were like, that's such a good thing. This is such a great thing that Jamie Lynn is, for, helping her sister out and stuff. And it's not how I feel, right? You don't feel the same way either.
No, it's a really bad thing. And I'm going to tell you all why. Not that Jamie Lynn Spears is in charge of a trust. I don't give a bleep.
That's okay. I'll blurb her out.
Yeah, just bleep it out. I know I'm trying to be like censored for YouTube because I know that they're like really bad.
They are.
Censoring, but I mean, I guess it's good. Kids come across videos, whatever. So I don't really care who's the trustee. What I care is what that trustee is trying to do. And what she's trying to do in November is take conceivably hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know how much is in that trust. It's not the money. I don't strike that. What she's trying to do and what she has petitioned a judge to do and what she plans to make an argument to do is to take Brittany's money out of a reputable financial firm, either Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley, and move it into the control of Stonebridge Investment Counsel.
Which is exactly what Lou M. Taylor would love, right? Just to have her company manage all of Brittany's assets so they have a huge, amount of money in the bank account.
Let's be clear so we don't get sued. Okay. Lou Taylor does not officially work for Stonebridge anymore. She stopped working for them in 2013. However,
after 9 years, right? Was it 9 years? She was
with
them?
She worked for them for almost a decade.
Yeah.
Now this is probably not everyone's gonna follow this. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. This is a complicated legal YouTube video, but like for the people that do follow it, just hang on, okay? It gets worse because it's pretty bad, that Lou Taylor has this connection. She worked there for 9 years, but I could see her saying, yeah, I worked there for 9 years and that's how I know they're a good firm. I haven't worked there in 7 years, like whatever. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But guess what else? Mitch Martin is the name of the CEO of Stonebridge and president of Stonebridge. Mitch Martin worked at TriStar Sports and Entertainment, which is Lou Taylor's company. So just to simplify, Mitch Martin used to be president of TriStar, and he is still president of Stonebridge.
So they switched with each other. They almost hired each other, like they're friends.
And if you go to my most recent TikTok, which I'm sure by the time this airs won't be the most recent, but it's one called They're Making Our Case for Us, and it's on YouTube. It's on Instagram as well. You will see that since this year, someone has been scrubbing the internet for any connection between Mitch Martin and TriStar. Why? Because they have told the court, according to a recently leaked document, that these companies don't have anything to do with each other. They said, oh no, they're independent from each other. We just so happen to want to put Brittany's hundreds of millions in this trust. We just so happen, just randomly.
This random account. Yeah, that has 3 employees, right?
From a reputable financial firm and put it in this random 3-person entity that Lou Taylor used to work for. And the last few months, and you'll see, I have evidence for this. You can look at this on my Instagram. They're scrubbing the internet for proof, they're taking away proof that Mitch Martin, who's the president of Stonebridge, where they're trying to put Brittany's money, ever worked at TriStar. He worked there for 13 years, but they're trying actively, today. That's why I was late getting here. I was making this huge video because basically what is coming to light in real time, right now, when I get off of this video, there's going to be more information, is that they lied and they're trying to cover it up. And then the big speculation is that $600 million that went into Stonebridge last year was already Brittany's money, and they moved it before asking for permission from the court. Now that part's just speculation, but I think it's reasonable.
When you say move it, is it moving it from TriStar, or is it moving it from Jamie Lynn's control, or is that both kind of the same thing?
That's a great question. So TriStar Sports and Entertainment is basically, you could say that's Lou Taylor. They list TriStar so that she doesn't have personal liability, but it's Lou Taylor's company. And so TriStar Sports and Entertainment is a business managing firm, right? They help with just different estate planning and stuff like that. Stonebridge is an investment advisor, right? They will either put your money into investment accounts so that it can get interest added on it, or they will which is really weird. This next thing, they'll take the money and be like, oh, we know what to do with it, and then just give it to a different firm. But in order to do that, they're supposed to get permission from the court. And people are speculating they already did it without permission. And now that Free Britney is like blowing up, they're trying to hurry up and get everything in place. And Jamie Lynn's filing this thing asking for permission now in November. And then, Lou is erasing the internet for clues that they're connected. And they're telling the court that Stonebridge and TriStar don't have anything to do with each other. When like a very simple Google search like 3 months ago would have shown you that they're very, very affiliated. Like you can even see like Mitch Martin did like an ongoing webinar for people at TriStar Sports. Like he was listed as president of TriStar Sports on like 3 websites. Like he was listed as president.
This guy is heavily involved, and he's probably been coordinating with Lou and Taylor to get this all done, and they're trying to save their butts now.
And these 2 people, Lou and Mitch, worked together at a different financial firm before Stonebridge called Prime Capital Services. So they're very
they've been friends forever.
At least probably 15 years, maybe 20. And they're telling the court, allegedly according to this leaked document, that these companies are not related. So that's where I come in. I'm like, hold on, this is a huge deal and it's going to take me like 45 minutes to tell everyone, but like this is the corruption we're dealing with. She had said through her attorney, she's ready to retire. She's ready to be done. She doesn't want to work anymore. And then 2 days later, we get Andrew Wallet filing a thing saying, no, I want the ability to enter into contracts on her behalf, to have control of her touring and video schedule, right? It's like, it just shows that they don't respect her. We had another leak yesterday that came out and said, Brittany refused to go show up at the Zone. She's on a labor strike. This is a serious labor issue. You know what I mean? Like this is every part of the law is incorporated. We have constitutional, disability rights, human rights, civil liberties. We have tax. We have white collar. We have criminal conspiracy. We have so many areas of the law that are being touched just with this case. And I feel like the more we find, the more they're digging or, covering
the more
up.
They're trying to hide it. Yeah. Do you think Lou and Taylor, random question, do you think she's seen any of your videos?
Yes.
Yeah.
She blocked me on Twitter and I never tagged her in anything or liked her. So like she must know I exist.
She has just like a Twitter account.
Yeah, she just like.
She has an Instagram too. I'm surprised she hasn't like reached out to me or said something nasty to me, or I don't know what she would say, but.
I honestly think that, and she hasn't reached out to me either, and I'm also surprised, but I've thought about that a good bit, and I think that the movement has gained so much momentum that she just doesn't have the bandwidth. I mean, she's like hiding people's names on websites and stuff. Like she has a lot to cover up for.
She has so much more to do right now than to try to stop me. Like she's trying to hide what she's done for the last 12 years. So that does make sense.
Also like a rumor, like she only sues gay men. That's like the running joke among like legal Free Britney movement. They're like, oh, well, you're safe. You're not a gay man. And it's kind of like funny. And it's also kind of like pathetic because she does have that reputation.
Yeah, I wonder when my lawsuit's coming. Like, I honestly checked my mail. I like checked my PO box today. I was like, and do I have a cease and desist? Like,
I've already decided that if I get served with a cease and desist, I'm probably gonna. I can't say on YouTube with it, but I will not be honoring it, and we can just go to court. So don't bother sending me no cease and desist, baby. I will meet you in the deposition room, and I will be making lots of document requests for discovery to defend myself. So please, I really am begging you to try me.
Well, at this point, there's also like a team of people, so like I can just see everyone being like, no, and them just taking the L because they are not going to be able to stand up for their past behavior or to explain this much longer.
No, they're going to have to start I think that what they're going to probably end up doing is like somebody's going to have to take the fall. Somebody's going to be
someone's going to be like the one that gets in all trouble. It's going to be like Jamie like someone at the end of the song might just be locked up and it's just that one person, but like there are so many other people who have been involved in this. Do you have anything else you want to say on Lou and Taylor? Because I want to know if you have anything to add on Andrew Wallet or Jody Montgomery. Because I don't really know that much about Jody Montgomery, but like I just get a bad feeling when it comes to her. And like Andrew Wallet honestly sucks. And actually, I don't know if you saw this, but Marina Lynn Diamonds called him out and saying that he should be locked up for what he's done. And I love Marina Diamonds. She's not Marina Diamonds anymore. Marina Diamandis or whatever. So I'm really happy that we are calling out these people by name. Like, I'm glad that Lou M. Taylor is the most famous right now that she's ever been in her life, and it's because of this. Same with Andrew Wallet, same with all of them. Like, I'm glad to make them famous and popular for all the wrong reasons. So do you have any feelings about either of those people?
Yeah, I think they're both corrupt. So
Yeah.
we have some information on Jody, and the information that I have actually came from a Britney's Gram podcast. I think it's episode 87, 80 something. It's called Free Roger, and it's basically the family members of someone who Jody Montgomery became the conservator of. And they kind of walk through the process of like what happens when it's not a famous person, right? Like when it's somebody who's just like a regular dad or whatever, you know, like he had a wife still, like crazy. And like, honestly, trigger warning in general, if you're like a sensitive or sympathetic, empathetic type of person, because it was a really rough episode to get through. But essentially, like, I don't really have any good feelings or good faith toward what Jody is going to do. Which makes it even more telling that Britney Spears would rather her be in charge of her person than her own dad. Okay, so that's the first thing.
Well, I'm glad that she's selecting Bessemer now. Like, I'm glad she's trying to go away from Jody's firm because, like you said, I've read other things on Twitter and stuff about Jody too that she's not too great. So I'm glad she's trying to go towards, I might be saying it wrong, Bessemer. What do you think? Do you know anything about them? Like,
so Bessemer Trust, I had never heard of before until Brittany nominated them to be her conservator of her estate. I did do some research into them, and I also have a couple other financial friends who looked into them, and they seem to be like a regular,
like legit, just consult, like a firm made for this. Yeah, I agree. That's what I read. I just read their Wikipedia, and I was like, you know what? They seem more trustful than anyone else I've like seen so far.
They seem like the most boring and ordinary thing in this whole case, so I'm happy to see it. Now, Andrew Wallet, I think, is interesting because he was the conservator of Britney's estate with Jamie Spears. He's a lawyer, okay? So he's not a financial advisor. He's not an accountant, to my knowledge. And I looked up the credentials of the law school he attended, and it no longer exists and it's no longer accredited. So if Andrew Wallet were in law school right now, he would not be in a law school, right? Like, that's what his credentials are. So, I mean, listen, can like anybody that didn't go to law school be a lawyer? Sure. But it is interesting that Brittany said, no, I want this reputable financial firm. And they said, no, you need this like guy who went to an unaccredited law school who, you know, had to drop out and resign literally last year because it was going to bring irreparable harm and damage to Brittany and her estate. And now all of a sudden you want to waltz back in. I'm suspicious.
Yeah. So that's like, and to give the viewers some like, just an idea, whatever. This reminds me, you know, court is coming up next week. I don't know if I'm going to drop this week or next week. It might be next week, like Monday, just like because it's going to be before court and it could be kind of like a heads up to people about the legal situation. So from my understanding, I'll do like a brief overview. We get into more detail. So what's happening in court next week is the Andrew Wallet decision versus the Bessemer decision. Is that true? It's gonna be either.
Double check real quick with my document. You can like cut this part out.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, because I thought it was maybe
double
like
check my documents real quick just to make triple sure here that that's what we're deciding on. So. Jamie Lynn.
Because you also mentioned court in November. So do we have several court dates already planned? Okay, let's go through some of those to like kind of wrap up the video and to prepare people.
So one thing we're for sure going to be deciding, 9/16, as of right now, anything could change. Okay, so especially when you have these rapid fire documents coming back and forth, the judge could do something called consolidation where she wants to hear like 3 of these issues on one day. Okay. 2 of the issues she's probably going to be hearing are, one of them is, if you'll remember, Jamie Spears filed a motion or a request to the court to keep everything secret, right? It's called a motion to seal the records. So he filed a request with the court and said, hey, I don't want, anything having to do with Andrew Wallet being appointed or Bessemer being appointed. I don't want the public to have any knowledge about that. And then Brittany popped back like, no, we're definitely going to have knowledge about that.
Yeah.
Please, judge, let the public have knowledge because Brittany welcomes the support of her informed fans and all that. That's where that document was from.
So, and was she able to do that through Samuel Ingham? So it's kind of a switch from him, like, because I mentioned in my last videos, like, he is the groundhog. He's definitely part of the corrupt crew because he's taken so much money from this situation. But right now, it seems like he could have flipped script. Maybe it's the pressure from the Free Britney movement, but it looks like he's kind of maybe acting in Britney's best interest in the last, like, month. Like, would you kind of agree with that? I'm still sus when it comes to him, but, like, a little bit better than these other people.
Yeah, so just so, like, no one drags me across the internet, like, he has not done his job. He is incompetent, in my opinion, to do this job. He's overpaid, in my opinion. And frankly, as I said at the beginning of the video, I think it's unconstitutional that he's even her lawyer. Okay, so that aside, I do agree with you that it does seem like he has flipped the script, and I do believe that that is in keeping with my earlier opinion that everyone's about to start turning on each other. It's about to be every person for themselves in this conservatorship.
Yeah.
So
like he's like, bro, I'm not going down with you guys. I'm not going down with Lou and Taylor and you guys because I was just kind of like maybe he wasn't even fully aware of what was going on. Like he's just a crappy like state attorney who was appointed to Brittany, and they're like, let's get him because you know he kind of sucks and he'll listen to whatever we say.
Yeah, I was doing like an Instagram live last night or 2 nights ago, and I said the same thing. I said, my real opinion. He probably was like, wow, sweet gig, like $400,000 a year. Absolutely. Like reimbursement of my expenses and no one asks questions, 100%. Her dad's in charge of her. How bad can it be? Like, she's crazy. Like, I think that's probably what it was. And then I do believe that the Free Britney movement illuminated, right, a lot of skeletons in the closet, a lot of shadiness, a lot of self-dealing and corruption between the C-Ship team. And I think either Sam or Brittany or both got wind of that and said, no, okay, this is enough. Enough's enough. And so I think that's what happened with him. So I'm kind of like not Team Sam, but like honestly, that opposition.
I'm not either.
That opposition he filed, I have got to give him credit. I think someone else probably wrote it. Like, I think his intern wrote it. Like, I think some, like, spicy, like, legal intern who just graduated, like, someone else wrote that. Like, that was just too sassy. But maybe not. I mean, maybe it was really him. But that one piece of writing I thought was excellent advocacy, and I thought that it was compelling, and I think it's going to be really hard for the judge to grant that motion to seal the records after that document. So that's one of the things that's going to be decided.
Now, another one, do you know what another one would be? Like, so we know one is going to be like the privacy of the documents, which is the Brittany's dad versus Brittany situation. Then we've got is Andrew Wallet going to be discussed during this hearing, do you think? The appointment of him?
I think that either at this hearing, that's what they'll discuss, or it'll be in October that they discuss that. But the judge may consolidate, because what happened was, I think Brittany, one of them filed the motion first, right? One of them said, I want Bessemer Trust to come in, right? Let's say Brittany filed her motion first. I don't have the dates in front of me right now, but I think that's how it worked. I think Brittany said, I nominate, what was it? She had said a document like she wanted Jody. It was like the first one that came out. Like,
yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about now, because I was thinking, the order goes like July. She was like, she would rather have Jody continue to be her conservator, and then it came out, I think, like more in August or maybe late August that Jamie was trying to get Andrew Wallet into it, and then I think Brittany came back and said, okay, I want Bessemer or whatever to take over it. Does that sound like?
I actually have the thing here. Let me just look. Petition to appoint Wallet as conservator was filed on 8/18. So August 18th, they filed the Wallet one. And then the blocked accounts came on 8/21, right? The Jamie Lynn one with the trust. So that one is scheduled for November. Okay, yes. And then Britney Spears herself in the flesh filed, the Bessemer one. So it's hard to say what's going to happen on September 16th. So if Brittany never filed her Bessemer Trust thing, then they would just be deciding whether or not to put Andrew Wallet as co-conservator on September 16th. But what happened was Brittany did file that opposition, and her hearing date looks like it's scheduled for November. So one of two things is going to happen. Either the judge is going to decide on the motion to seal on September 16th, like, are people allowed, are they not? Should we make it public or not? And the judge could decide on the wallet petition on September, right, 16th. What she could also do is say, I'm not going to decide on that. I want everyone to prepare arguments as to why they think their person is the best, and I'll pick from there. And I think, like, from my conversations with lawyers and stuff, that'll probably be what happens. But I really would like for it all to be decided in September. But
just to get it done, yeah.
Based on the pace that this court moves and the pace that the court has moved in the past, I think she'll probably consolidate a lot of these dates and push it to November. But as of right now, we still do have on the court date docket, as of today, which is September 9th, we still have on the court date docket that she will be deciding on the motion to seal or allow things to be open to the public. And even if that's all she decides, that's a big.
Oh, it's huge. Oh, if it's not public, I am raising, like, if it's not public, it's just going to, like, it's going to be such a huge loss just in general.
Well, you know, it's
kind of been hard in general, like, or been hard to find some things. And I mean, well, you've been able to find a ton, but, you know, it's not like easy information that everyone's talking about. So I feel like if it's sealed, it's just going to stop the media from me, like, digging and, you know, making a big deal about it, because I love whenever the Britney movement is trending online and everyone's talking about it and it's like huge news everywhere. So, yeah, that I really hope she does make it public. I feel like there should be some checks and balances for some judges, because throughout my last videos, like this month, I have encountered some bad judges recently. And why are they all dictating power? Like, it just feels like they have almost too much power to me. Like, is that a weird assumption? Or
so this court actually has been, I feel like you're gonna have to make this into like 6 videos. This court actually has
it's gonna be one long one.
Has been appealed on this case before by an attorney called John Erdley. And it ended up turning out like he was kind of like not really respected, and like there was some stuff with it. But they tried to appeal this judge to a higher court and get it kind of removed out of this like probate court, which only has like a limited set of things that they do, into like a big, like a federal, like a big real court that handles all types of issues. And that big court said, oh, we don't have like jurisdiction, like we don't have the authority to this judge. So back to them. Like, there's no oversight for this judge. So Brittany and all of us are really at the mercy of like whatever her mood is that day. And I think,
or whoever pays her bigger bucks. Like, if you want to get into the alleged, like, you could allegedly say this judge is paid off or has been paid off. She's done things a little bit odd when it comes to, you know, a precedent of judges and just decisions and things like that. And she's not following protocol.
Well, apparently, according to a lawyer who I spoke with who works in this system in California, it actually isn't that unusual. Like, the whole probate system for conservatorships is just like this. Like,
there's a whole problem with conservatorships in general, because I've had multiple people reach out to me and ask me just to stand up against them in general, like not just the Britney movement, but like that they have had personal issues with them, their family has, and that the laws are just like a little bit too like general or just, you know, unclear, or it almost reminds me of like that Chinese communist law where they're able to get anyone in trouble for security issues. It's just like an umbrella law in a way that they can do anything they want to under it.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the things on the probate checkbox is like autism. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm autistic. What are you trying to? I can read. I can pay. I can take care of other people, much less myself. Like, and once you're in, you pretty much just have to like, or run out of money. What makes me the most mad about Britney Spears' conservatorship proper is that she's in the most restrictive conservatorship. A probate conservatorship is the most restrictive. People who are in comas, that's the type of conservatorship that Britney Spears is in. There's a whole other kind of conservatorship for people who have mental health conditions or you know, developmental disabilities, who need just like a little help or need just like a little bit of
financial control. Like, they just can't go spend millions of dollars in one day. Like,
or like consulting, or like a social worker type of relationship. You know, like you want to talk through. There's, you know, stuff like. I'm not saying Brittany needs to be in that either, but she has to be in a conservatorship. Why is she in the one for people in a coma? And I read the funniest tweet yesterday. Somebody was like, imagine telling a court that someone has dementia and 12 years later complaining to that court that the dementia patient isn't working hard enough.
Yeah, that's insane to me. Like, and throughout this whole time, I mean, she was doing this residency, she was doing the X Factor, she's done so many other things that like no one with dementia would be able to do, and it's just
It would be a world record that somebody at 26 years old would even have dementia, and that somebody can live for 12 years and be as productive and efficient and earn as much money as Britney Spears.
In her memories, I mean, her captions, like every 5 posts, it's like a memory from her childhood or a memory from 10 years ago. It's just like,
and that's kind of where I do start to like dance on the conspiracy theorist line. Like, that's where I start to kind of buy into it. I'm like, Britney Spears is 100% laying out exhibits for court. Like, for example, there's like videos of her sons like running up on her, like scaring her, and her being like, don't do that to me, like 3 years in a row, right? But what does that show? In one of the videos, she's like taking groceries out of the car. What does that show? She can buy groceries. She can unload groceries. What does that mean? Feed herself. She can take care of her children. So what does that must mean? She can take care of herself, right? Right? Like,
so true.
Conspiracy theory, but what are they alleging that she cannot do? Take care of herself, take care of her money, right? So first of all, I think the money thing is the most capitalist garbage I ever heard. There's like dozens of countries, maybe hundreds, I don't know, that have nothing like this, and everyone just gets along fine. So the fact that we have valued somebody's estate, someone's money, their assets above their freedom, above their autonomy,
their well-being, everything,
their health, their choice. We're the land of the free until you're a disabled woman. And then your daddy has to step in. And it doesn't matter if you're 26, and it doesn't matter if you're 38, and it doesn't matter if it's your money. It doesn't matter if he's qualified. It doesn't matter if he's been evaluated. You're a woman. You're disabled. This toothless man, allegedly, should be the one who's in charge of your money. Like, it's just infuriating.
And he's like not trying to write off his disease and his addiction. Like, it's all very serious, but like he's just far from capable of taking care of her. So I don't even know why he has so much power in this situation. And I think a lot of people agree it's very frustrating, and every single person who has been in Britney's circle has failed her and failed to deliver and failed to provide the public with any type of reassurance that she's okay. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are so stuck on this, is because not only is she like this whole conservatorship and this whole mess going on, but like we've never gotten she's okay. Not one time ever.
All I've heard from people in her real close circle is she needs privacy and we need to respect her privacy. But what I heard from her mouth through her lawyer is she does not want that privacy. She wants us to look into this stuff. She wants us to be informed. She rebutted through her lawyer that this is a conspiracy theory and a joke. She welcomes the support of her fans. So anytime a Jamie Lynn or a Lou Taylor says respect her privacy, I get suspicious at this point, because we have filed in a court of law under penalty of perjury that she does not want privacy in that way. She does want to ask these questions. It says that it is in the general public interest. It is good public policy. That is what that court filing said. It is good public policy to have this be open to the public. And Sam Ingham said, after he attended his workshop for legal writing, the world is literally watching. The world is watching. So all this privacy stuff from Jamie Lynn and them, like, that was cute, but y'all need to calm down.
So before we close out this video, I do want to ask you about Lynn Spears, just because I feel like we know where Jamie and Jamie's heart lies when it comes to Britney and the movement, and, you know, they've chosen the bad side, but Lynn Spears has sometimes popped out of nowhere, and she's like kind of like tried to save the day in a way. Like, she's never saved the day, but like she's tried to, you know, become part of Britney's conservatorship and to have a role in it. And she has kind of stood up for Britney on her side, at least from my understanding. So do you have any opinions on Lynn, or do you think Lynn is, you know, actually trying to help Britney?
At first I was very opposed to Lynn, like, coming in, because I was like, where have you
been? When I know.
Why all of a sudden are you popping up and piping up? I haven't been in this movement. Like, I'm brand new. I just got here. So I do take a lot of the like stands opinions on things, and I kind of feel the water out. And where I am right now is I truly am just in the middle and on the fence. I feel kind of the same way with Sam as Gary as I do with Lynn. I will say though, I'm here to talk about court documents, and I will say Lynn did file two court documents, right? She filed the one to be an interested party last month or the month before, and she did file a nomination, in a sense, of Bessemer Trust Company, which is the one that Brittany
is also nominated. Yeah.
So, I mean, she ponied up some coins to give those lawyers and file that report. And that is what I will say. One thing I will say, kind of like that might seem like in the defense of Lynn, is I don't know what Lynn Spears's qualifications are. I don't know what her education level is. I don't know what her income capacity is. So I assume, and this is totally me just assuming, I have no idea, but I assume Lynn Spears doesn't have access to like piles of cash to pay lawyers. What I do know for a fact is Geraldine Weil and Gerald Cohen, who are Jamie's lawyers and the conservatorship lawyers, they ain't cheap. So in order for a lawyer to be able to go up against them and this status quo conservatorship for 12 years, they're going to need a lot of money. And where does that circle us back? Who has that money? Jamie Spears. Is Jamie Spears going to open up the bank account for Lynn Spears to fight against him? Hell no. Jamie Spears is not going to do that. I think he would go to his grave kicking and screaming before he would do that. So that's why I think, and this is just my opinion, if I was Brittany's lawyer, I would be doing exactly the same thing that they are doing, which is put somebody else reputable in the conservatorship of the estate. Once they're there, get rid of Jamie Spears. Once that happens, floodgates are going to open. Documents, passcodes, bank accounts, all of this stuff is going to become available to a neutral, independent trust, and they're going to be able, hopefully, to litigate, which means go to trial on the behalf of Brittany and on the behalf of, getting her money back and all of that. But at least she will be able to pay, Lynn will be able to pay lawyers out of that. Now, all of that to be said, I still don't know if we can trust that Lynn's going to do that. But I have no reason to believe that that's not where this is headed. Like, why would Lynn do something now and then just switch back? Like,
I think she's in it now. I agree. Like, I feel like a little unsure about her, and maybe that's like she's been really unsure about it too, because I don't know what she's been told or what type of relationship she's even able to have with Brittany because of her father. But I agree that I think Lynn is like
still, and we know that she's still close, at least from social media, with Jamie Lynn, and we know that Jamie Lynn is still being managed by Lou Taylor, and we know that Lou Taylor and Lynn Spears probably have a little bit of bad blood. So it's probably realistically been Lynn Spears like trying to just like suck it up for some time. And now she just finally had enough for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what that reason could be.
Maybe she's pressured too. I mean, all these people are kind of like switching around the same time, kind of July, August. We saw Sam, and then now we see Lynn kind of getting into it. So maybe it is the social pressure, and that's why I want to continue making videos like this and continue talking about it. And that's why I'm so glad you are here and you are able to like explain this to us people online that just don't understand legal things, because it's so far over my head. But it's when you put it all together and you explain it like that, it makes sense, and it makes me feel like that all the information is literally out here. You were able to find it. You just have to have people put it together, and this is what true investigative journalism is. It starts with things like this, because not, all these huge corporations, they aren't digging through these files. They don't care to spend the time to connect Martin with Lou Taylor and to put this bigger picture together. They just want to know in 5 words or less what's going on with Britney Spears that day. And there is so much more to this picture, and to be able to fight it in court, we need to lead with knowledge, and being knowledgeable about this whole situation is such a great thing. And I'm so glad that you're able to share it with your followers and able to share it with me today. And if we can do this in the future, maybe a post-court or before court, like maybe there'll be like we can do a series where we do literally like before the court. We can talk about what we're expecting, or I don't know, because I think
it'd be really fun actually, because my main reason I don't do stuff like that is because I'm just not technologically with it. So like if you have the skills for that, like we can just like link up, I can show up, just like drop the knowledge, and then you can like where it needs to go. But I think that would be fun, like some type of podcast or a series. And you're right, it is going to be people like you, influencers like you, channels like this one, that are going to help people start to say like, okay, that was complicated. I might need to watch it again and look up documents myself. But this is a really suspicious looking scheme. And sorry, the cat. It would not
You're
be
good.
that surprise witness appearance without the cat like coming to knock the screen down. Yeah, and like if any of this stuff sounded confusing, like it's because it is. And if y'all need more answers, like please feel free to
Yes.
come by my Instagram and watch the lives, because I do generally go like line by line through them whenever they do come out, the court documents. So this is like what I'm doing right now. I'm super excited to like share this knowledge. Hopefully some of y'all actually are like excited and interested in the legal profession and like want to maybe like consider being lawyers or paralegals or something like that from this. Like hopefully we can just empower people to use their, you know, not the resources that they have to gain knowledge, because like you said, knowledge is freedom, and I do believe that very strongly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, like sometimes I think about what the viewer is going to get from this, and it makes me think about the random girl who's watching this video that sees this connection, who, you know, feels passionately about it because she's learned how, you know, clearly it's out there and literally you can find the information. Then she shares it with her parents, and then her mom is on Facebook one day and shares something for Free Britney, and then just the knowledge that people take from YouTube sometimes can just go so far, and that's why it's important to make these things, because maybe it won't like pop off and have a million views or anything like that, but some people are going to be able to take pieces and bits of this, and they will not only learn about law and how our system works and how it's been failing Brittany, but they'll also know like, oh no, Lou M. Taylor is that pizza Subway rat, and like I know that for a fact because I watched this video that pulled out the files, and like this is why she's wrong, and more people will be able to defend Brittany with their knowledge of what's going on rather than their theories or conspiracies of how she's actually doing.
And like theories and conspiracies are fun and also important. Like if it wasn't for conspiracy videos, I wouldn't be in this movement, because those are the things that go viral, and those are the ones that make it to some people that are like, this is fake, I'm gonna disprove it. And then we can't disprove it, and we're like, whoa, I guess I'm in this movement now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the conspiracies keep us talking. So I always welcome the conspiracies. I'm just always like, I love to talk about conspiracies, but remember guys, we got to go to court at the end of the day. So let's make sure we go leading with facts, because you don't want us to be written off as just like some crazy movement like Brittany's father has tried to call this. But again, thank you so much, BJ, for joining. You can find her on social media at That Surprise Witness. She has been fighting for Brittany, and she is just part of the community. So I'm so happy to have you here and to learn more about what's going on. That ending was pretty abrupt, and I didn't film anything after that, so I wanted to close up this video and first off say thank you to BJ for coming onto my channel and explaining all of this to me. Honestly, I've learned so much just like talking to her and just learning more about the legal system. So if you guys have some questions, comment them below. I will definitely reply to them. And if I don't know the answer, maybe I'll reach out to our girl BJ and ask her what's up. There is so much legally going on with Brittany's case right now. We've got court like tomorrow. I don't know if this is dropping yet, but we've got court coming up. Some big things are happening, and a lot of like receipts about Lou M. Taylor have been coming out. So I will be making a video specifically about Lou M. Taylor soon, but I wanted to close up this video and say I'm very thankful for you guys if you made it all the way to the end, that you watched my channel. And if you want to support my channel, you know I don't get paid, like I'm demonetized, so I do have a PayPal linked below. I have all my socials linked below, so check me out and let me know if you want me to talk about a news story, or if you have something you want me to talk about that wasn't mentioned in this video, or anything else, because I'm always open to new ideas. Okay guys, until I see you in my next video, stay safe and I'll see you later. Bye.